through my 2019-2020 art journal. I use, this is a Leda brand, L-E-D-A. They're a local brand to me, made in Kirkland, Washington. I did buy it on Amazon. This is my new one that I will start soon. They are self-covered. Mine's it's kind of a grayish brown color. It holds paint really well. Paint pens, whatever you want to put on it. The pages are a pretty good heavy duty. I think that they are. They're an off-white, so they're not like stark white. So I did a little mark of permanent black, and it does show through a bit, but nothing that bothers me at all. It's very smooth. There isn't a whole lot of tooth to this, so you have to add gesso for paint. It has a pocket in the back that's nicely reinforced, and then an elastic securing band. So really nice, really like it. It's held up really well for a year through traveling everywhere with me. So this is the start. It's always hard for me to start a journal. I feel insecure. I feel not brave. And so the beginning of a journal is always a little rough for me. So just finding my way, figuring out what I want it to look like. So these pages are a little unfinished. And then I start to feel my groove and move into a little bit more drawing. These are kind of like Dina Wakley inspired drawings. Just kind of, I love distortion of faces, of eyes, lips, whatever. And so this journal has definitely been that for me this year. I take inspiration from Instagram and Pinterest. I believe strongly in recreating works that I am drawn to, that interest me, that I'm inspired by, for the purpose of learning. I know that some people maybe can see that as like copying, and that's maybe controversial in some way, but I really believe, for myself at least, that recreating people's work in some aspect really gives me an appreciation and an understanding of the styles that I like and what it takes to create something like that. So, and this is my personal journal. I'm not selling anything out of it. And this is a mixture, like not all of these are recreations. These are also just my creations too. So that's my thought. And so that's a lot of what this is just figuring out what I like and why I like it. I use a lot of napkins in between because this is charcoal and pencil, and I don't want them to mesh together. So I do use a spray fixative for my charcoal sometimes, but not all the time. So the napkin takes care of that. And now I transition to a little bit more of a collaging. So it holds gesso and glue and Mod Podge and papers and paint really well. And these are more and more paint, and as it goes this direction, those kind of collage pages where they're covered in paint get a lot thicker, which I love. So a little bit more drawing. And a lot of these napkins even double as memorabilia, reminding me of trips that I've been on, where I went during this time. So that's kind of fun because it's more memory making, and when I don't remember to write a note as to where I was. And some pages are completely unfinished or undone, and I don't mind that. That's fine with me. These were kind of exploring an idea for a commission that I did that ended up being completely different than that. This is a little bit of inspiration from an artist named Deb Weirs. Maybe some of you would know her. Really love her work. Always room for a little landscape. These are notes and space for another commission I did. Another artist on Instagram, her name is Anna Tsvell, Tsvell. I admire her work so much, and I really love recreating and practicing. She's got amazing pointy claw hands and just very abstract, distorted faces. more collage. So it takes this transition of some drawing and then I go into collage again. And this is like binge watching doodling. So more collage. These collages, when they're really covered with paint like this, when I'm done with it, I go over it with Mod Podge, and then I also go over it with wax, with Dorland's wax, and I just put it on it and then I buff it out, and it helps really create a more cohesive surface, and it also helps my pages not to stick together. I have heard some people that doesn't work for, but it really is successful for me. So hand study, always working towards better hands, and then back into the drawing. And these are more, sometimes I mix different inspirations and things. And so this is when the quarantine began, and so a lot of my drawings, did a lot of drawing at the beginning. I've only been drawing for about 2 years, and so I need a lot of practice, but I also I feel very inspired, and that's also partly why I need inspiration, is I don't just draw from my imagination very well yet, but I plan and expect to get better and better at that. So just different practices, and here I've moved from charcoal into pencil because charcoal's messy. It's hard to do on your lap when you're sitting and you end up with a pile of charcoal in your lap. So, and then I've spent my time drawing, and now I'm back into collage, and these are the ones that get real heavy, real beefy. These journals, when I'm drawing, especially when doing the drawing, these journals travel with me everywhere. So like when I am, a lot of the drawing time is when I've been at sporting events or waiting for my kids to be done with practice or something like that. So, and then the collaging is when I'm home, when I have time to spend at my art desk and actually collaging. So that also is a timeline in itself, you know, for my journal. So these ones have a lot more paper underneath, a lot more layers of paint. They get a lot more heavy as we go, and that's when the Mod Podge and the wax have really made a beautiful surface, in my opinion. I just love it. I love how it feels. They're flexible and they don't stick together, which is really, really important, right? So we don't get that paint peeling off. Getting toward the end. Have no fear. There's a little portrait of Georgia O'Keeffe that I attempted. And this is when I was getting toward the end and I knew I needed to just kick it in there, get it done, finish up, finish strong. And these, I was really using up scrap paper. So this back part of my journal is like really trying to use up the bits and pieces on my table, not be fussing too much with composition or color or whatever, but just really creating layers and a mess, which I love. And this got a little more minimalistic because I had like tiny, tiny pieces of paper on my desk, and so I decided to create that. And these have no Mod Podge or wax on them because there's really no paint. Sometimes I would add gesso or a little paint on it, but mostly they're paper, pencil, glue, and tape, and that's about it. Just using it up. So I hope you all watched and enjoyed, and I don't know, learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I am happy to answer any questions that you might have, and I'd love to see your stuff too. So thanks, bye.